Hi, challenges to Mage recently have been coming thick and fast. Well, thick anyway. A whole bunch of people who are definitely not thick are my amazing patrons. I want to give massive thanks to each and every one of my supporting patrons. Thank you. So today we have Kyle Adams from the Flat Earth Institute of Science. Let's see if Kyle can make a good fist of this. Okay, let's see how Kyle Adams of the Flat Earth Institute of Science, how he gets on with Mage. I think you may be a little surprised. Hi Mr. S, looking good. Let's get on with it. So go ahead Kyle, show us what you got.
Recently, an anti-flat earther by the name of Mr. Sensible launched his very own balloon satellite in an effort to try and prove that the Earth was a globe.
We sent a... Right, well, first of all I'll say I'm not anti-flat. I'm pro-evidence, wherever that evidence leads. And I'm assuming it's a slip of the tongue. It's not a satellite, it is a balloon. A satellite is something different. But okay, let's carry on. A payload with a non-distorting camera and took that imagery and it looks like it's curved. Those are facts. If you can dispute them, you're welcome to.
Needless to say, he feels like pretty hot stuff right now.
Yeah, pretty hot.
And has contacted me personally, wanting to hear what I think of it all.
Yeah, I did, Kyle. You seem to be level-headed in that you can tackle things without just resorting to needless ad hominems and so on. I do think you've been wrong about everything that I've seen so far, but that's fine either way. And so, yeah, I was honestly interested to see what you would make of it.
My first question for him is why the term MAGE? I understand it is an acronym for Mission Above Globe Earth.
It is.
But it still sounds like his making it say MAGE is not coincidental. When I think of mages, I think of wizards, magicians, and magic tricks. The dictionary definition of mage is a magician, after all.
It is in some dictionaries. In others, it's a magician or a learned person. It's just fun. It is an acronym. Don't get hung up on it. It's nothing to do with magic. Okay?
So I've got to wonder, is this all his idea of a magic trick? Let's review the footage.
Good idea. Excellent music supplied by Chris Durham Music Channel. Thanks, my friend. Oh, full flight, uncut. I'm not quite sure what to think, Kyle. We'll let it go for now, because I did want you to tackle the actual experimental results video. However, this video, the full flight uncut, also uses the correct camera. So we're not looking at the wide angle one. So yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's carry on.
Logic and cheese.
Hi, I'm Mr. Sensible, and I recently did a high altitude balloon launch, reaching a height of 38,736 metres. I did indeed. Thanks, Mr. S. This video is the full and uncut film from the main camera, from launch up to burst point, down to landing and through to recovery. And I want to make clear there are no cuts in this. None. Please check out the links in the description below, or have a look at my playlist to see my other videos in the MAGE series, including MAGE Final Results, which detail the experiment. How come you're so much bigger than me? And how it turned out. This also shows the footage of the balloon burst. It's absolutely stunning, and I replay it in slow motion. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. It's much appreciated. Yeah, thanks for the shill out, Kyle. Appreciate it. I'll show details now of the specs of the MAGE probe, and then we'll get straight onto the launch. Thank you. Enjoy.
Alright, so here we can see that the non-distorting lens he was referring to before was this narrow angle lens.
Yep, it certainly was. Well done, Kyle. That's more than any other non-glober, anti-glober, flat earther. However, yeah, it's more than any of the others seem to have realised. So, well done. Point 1 to Kyle. I like this music.
Go May!
Indeed.
I will say this, he has my respect for actually getting out and testing things for himself. This is what I like to see. Too many people these days found their beliefs on hearsay and whatever unnamed scientists say, rather than scientifically founding their beliefs in observation and experimentation.
Right, first of all, thank you very much for that, Kyle, for that acknowledgement. I appreciate that. What I would like to see is you carrying out some experiments and observations, and indeed other flat earthers doing the same. The point holds both ways.
Okay, so here's what we are looking at.
Now let's see if Kyle actually does understand what we're looking at, because so far not a single flat earther has, although to be fair they've not even been looking at it, they've been looking at totally the wrong camera. But let's see how Kyle does. We'll give him a mark for everything he gets correct.
We have the main camera with
Yes, well done, Kyle.
the narrow angle lens,
That's 2.
which is our big picture.
Yep.
We have the balloon camera in the top left, and
That's
then next to that we have the
3.
wide angle camera,
4 out of 4 so far. Well done.
allowing us something to compare our footage with. On the right here, we have an altitude meter, showing
again?
us how high the balloon is.
5.
And across the center, we have 2 horizontal lines. As I understand, the lines are there to show us the sweet spot on the camera lens where the least amount of barrel distortion takes place.
I'm going to give you half a mark for that. They're not specifically to show the sweet spot. What they are is to have something to compare them with so that you can see if the image is distorted. They do pretty much equate with the sweet spot, so which is why I'm happy to give you half a mark. So basically, yep, good job so far, Kyle. It's the correct camera view. You're aware of the balloon cam, you're aware of the wide cam and the altimeter, and you've noted the reference line strings. To be honest, I can't criticise it at all so far, so I'm going to say thank you.
So if I'm not mistaken, these horizontal lines serve as acknowledgement that what he was saying about using a non-distorted lens wasn't entirely true.
No. Even a rectilinear lens has a tiny amount of distortion. It is a non-distorting lens in that any distortion is absolutely minimal. But by having those reference line strings, you can see how much, if any, the image is distorted. And the answer is not a lot. But let's carry on.
It is still distorted due to barrel distortion,
But only slight.
but it's not as distorted as the wide-angle lens.
Absolutely. You're on a roll here, Kyle. Well done.
Herein, in barrel distortion, you'll notice that these lines across the center get distorted the least, which is what the bars across his main camera are for.
But as I said, not 100% the reason, but yeah, as you can see, they do roughly equate. Well done. And Kyle obviously does understand and realise that that centre section, and actually a vertical position down the middle as well, is pretty much non-distorted.
With that understanding, we'll keep our observations within those 2 bars.
Thank you very much. So He's saying that he's only going to look at observations that are in the sweet spot area and not stuff that's right across the bottom here or up at the top where we know there's distortion. Thank you. Very honest.
Okay, so let's examine this shot with the horizon in the sweet spot taken from 3,300 meters.
Well, yes, that is pretty much slap bang in the middle, thank you. But 3,300 meters is not high enough to show the curve. Not high enough at all. Which is why when we come to results, I didn't use any heights as low as that. But okay.
Here I have taken a straight line across the horizon, and it looks pretty flat. Let's take another shot from a higher altitude and see if that changes.
Oh, okay, I take back what I said. That's fair enough, you're just doing comparison. Carry on.
Ooh, just a little over 11,000 meters now. Let's put a straight line across that. Alright, so as I drag the line across the horizon, I see that the atmospheric gradient is so strong, it is difficult to see where I should put the other end of the line.
Absolutely, which is why even at maximum height, it was actually quite difficult to find shots that you could have any clue, sort of sharp edge clue to draw lines to, because a lot of it is blurry, which makes things very difficult. And you've obviously acknowledged that. My goodness, we're doing well so far, mate.
Let's adjust the brightness and contrast of this picture to see if that can't sharpen the image and make things easier. I don't even have to draw a straight line across this. I fully acknowledge that I can see some curvature.
Wow. Thank you, Kyle. You're right. It's absolutely obviously some curvature. Whatever the cause, there is curvature, which makes a massive change from a lot of those flat earthers who are just denying it and saying, no, that looks straight to me. So thank you for that.
Now my question is this the curvature of the Earth that we are looking at? Well,
I'm not really sure what else it can be. Let's give it a crack.
What I'm going to look for now is if this is the curvature of the Earth that we are looking at. I expect it to have about the same amount of curvature all the way across.
Before you look at that though, Kyle, it surely either has to be one of two things. The curve of the Earth or distortion. Look at the line. There's the upper line there. There's the lower line there. How could something that's straight, flat, in between those be curving more than either of those lines? Remember that barrel distortion chart. Across the middle is where you're going to get no distortion. So why is it curved? Let's let you carry on.
If the right side curves faster than the left side, that is where we're going to bump into some problems.
Are we?
Let's do MC Toon's Scrunched Horizon trick to check out the curvature of this.
It's not just MC Toons, lots of people do it. But I'm glad you're putting that yellow line along there. Okay, let's see what happens.
Alright, here I'm going to go ahead and select all of that, and then we're going to scrunch it really quick. Select. And scrunch.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that right side definitely doesn't have the same amount of curvature as the left side does.
But have you noticed that straight yellow line, although the angle has changed, remains straight? And I'm not quite sure why you have a problem with the amount of curve there to there. Remember this straight line, the angle has changed. So you think with a curve, the angle's changing all the time. When you scrunch it, you're changing it again. More on that in a while.
And another interesting thing to observe is the center of our curve isn't the center of our photo. I wonder why that is. Let's try this again at just over 15,000 meters.
Very blurry image there though, Kyle. I would hope that there's some better ones that you could have picked.
Okay, let's adjust that brightness and contrast. And we'll check to see if our line is where it's supposed to be. Okay. I do see some curvature there.
Good.
Let's go ahead and scrunch that and do our Scrunched Horizon trick. Look for the same thing. Scrunch. Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Is it?
We don't see the same amount of curvature as we did in the last picture.
It depends on what you're looking at.
That right side looks a lot flatter than it used to. What's going on here?
I think, with all due respect, Carl, what's going on is you're not quite understanding what happens when you scrunch the picture left to right. Scrunch.
All right, let's go even higher. 25,000 meters. Will it get flatter or will it get more curved? All right, brightness and contrast. Check in our line to make sure it's accurate.
I'm just going to pause you a second there. No fault of your own, but over here, just due to the colours of the shadow of clouds and non-clouds and so on, you've got the horizon line. I'll call it a line, not straight, not curved, but you've got that horizon there, which gets cut off purely because of the background colours. So you've not really got a full width to play with, but you know, that's not your fault.
All right, let's do the Scrunched Horizon part.
Let's. Oh, okay, you've just taken that part. Fair enough.
Scrunch. I think it's interesting how Mr. Sensible is 100% convinced that this proves the Earth is a globe.
Well, what you've got to remember, Kyle, is that camera is a narrow angle camera. We have got a narrow field of view, so you're not going to see much curve. Then in this case, we're actually using less of it. So I would have to say probably best to use a different image. Okay, I'm not saying you've done anything underhand, but that's probably not the best image to use to try and show anything either way.
Here, let's put a line across that just because.
That's a waste of time.
Now I think it's interesting how even though the balloon went higher, the line got straighter.
You're putting a straight
Now
line
let's try
there.
this again with the highest altitude.
You're putting a straight line there along an image that you've already manipulated, so that's not a fair test anyway.
Of just over 37,000 meters and see what we get.
That's more like it.
Okay, go adjust that brightness and contrast. And we got a blip there. Looks like it's coming from the lens flare.
Yep, lens flare, definitely, I agree. Now, just ballparking that by eye, can you not see the curve?
All right, let's do the Scrunched Horizon part. Scrunch. Zoom in on that. Now I do see some curvature.
I am honestly really, really glad that you've acknowledged that throughout. That is excellent.
But the question is that the curvature of the Earth that we are looking at?
Well, you would have to posit an alternative explanation. We're photoing the Earth, or videoing the Earth. We can see the Earth. The Earth looks curved in the image. Therefore, without an alternative explanation, I would say that's because the Earth is a sphere. The only other possibility that I'm aware of is distortion, but we have ruled that out by using imagery across the sweet spot, as you so aptly put it, across the centre of the screen. We've also got the reference line strings, because if the Earth is being distorted, the strings would be distorted, and this does not correlate with any bending in the strings. So therefore, without an alternative explanation at this point, I would say, yeah, it's the curve of the Earth.
Since we see uneven amounts of curvature in each photo, and varying amounts of it, I conclude that it is not the curvature of the Earth that we are looking at.
Okay, but I can show you're wrong, and I will in a minute.
Perhaps that is Mr. Sensible's magic trick.
No.
I don't know. But I've got to thank him for asking me to review the footage. It has been fun. Last thing.
Before the last thing, thank you, Carl. Yeah, I did want you to review it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will come back with a further request at the end of this video.
Let's compare Mr. Sensible's footage with this picture of the Earth supposedly taken from space. Here I'm selecting the photo. Now please notice how as I rotate the photo, the center of the curve always remains about the center of the curve.
Yeah, and why? Because you have the center point of that circle. So yeah, the edge is equidistant from that center point, so it's always going to be a smooth rotate. Now if you took and rotated about that point there, it's not going to, you're not going to have the same effect, are you? You're going to get a circle that swings around like that. So I'm not quite sure what you think you're showing there. And of course, with this photo, you're able to actually locate the center of the diameter of that Earth. On my imagery, you're right up close to one edge. You have no hope of finding a center point to rotate around.
All right, now we're going to do the Scrunched Horizon thing.
Aha.
Scrunch! Now as we zoom in on this, please notice how there is even amounts of curvature on the left and on the right.
Yes, there is. Down here, this curve mirrors this curve. However, the curvature shown here is different than the curvature shown there. It depends on the angle. Here, the surface of the Earth is close to vertical, so it's just being pushed to the left. Here, the surface of the Earth is close to horizontal, and so it's getting more distorted. You've just shown why you can't use the amount of curvature in a scrunched photo to prove anything other than that surface was not straight in the first place, i.e. you have accentuated the curve. Remember, in that photo you scrunched up that had the yellow line remained straight. It did not curve to any extent whatsoever.
That is something we did not observe in Mr. Sensible's footage.
No, but we're going to look at something in a minute.
I wonder why. Thank you all for watching. It has been a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Kyle. Put your world to the test. Yeah, thank you, Kyle, for tackling my video. I really appreciate it. Obviously, I think you're wrong. I know you're wrong. I'm going to show you why with regard to those scrunch curves in just a second. But that was a decent attempt at a debunk. So, cheers. Right, let's have a look at a load of balls. So here's a size 5 Dunlop basketball that some kids have lobbed into my garden. Let's scrunch it. There we are. An image that pretty much equates with your image of the Earth taken from space. Excellent. Now let's have a close-up, just part of the horizon, and scrunch that as well. And we'll do yet another one and scrunch that. Now what have we got? Well, this was just quick and dirty, but you see, you get very different curves depending on the angle that the curve is crossing your field of view. You can try it yourself, just get a ball and take numerous photographs and scrunch them. It's quite obvious, really. So there we go, Kyle. It depends which part of the sphere is crossing the screen when you scrunch it down as to how that curve appears. Now, this would be the time when I show the MAGE Rage list, but I don't think you deserve to be on it. We've got the MAGE Rage list for those who have deliberately misrepresented what I've said, who have chosen the wrong video, who have said totally idiotic things. But I don't think that's the case in this case. You have got it wrong. You have misunderstood. But I don't think that there was anything that I can detect that was deliberately disingenuous. There was no lying. And you did make good attempts at trying to be reasonable. Things like taking images across that centre section. So credit for that. So I'm going to start a new category, and you are the first entrance on that list, and it will be for worthy attempts. So Kyle, we've seen the worthy attempts list, you're number 1, and we've seen the MAGE Rage list. What I'm going to ask from you is to actually try again. I want you to use the MAGE results vid, link up here, okay, this particular video. So have a look at that video very carefully, see the conclusions I draw from it and why, and please tackle those directly. I look forward to seeing it. So to round off, I'll say thank you, Kyle. I look forward to it. Everyone else, look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.